Did you know that asteroids might hold the secret to both Earth's beginnings and possibly its end? Yeah, I know. It sounds dramatic, but it's true. These mysterious rocks drifting through space have been around since the beginning of our solar system, and they carry stories older than our planet itself. Imagine this. One day an asteroid could bring answers about how life began, or it could be the reason life as we know it ends. Crazy, right? Stick around, because we're about to take a deep look into everything you need to know about these incredible space rocks, from where they came from to the ones we might bump into soon. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Alright, so what exactly is an asteroid? Well, picture a rock, but not just any rock. This one's floating around in space. Asteroids are basically big chunks of metal and stone, leftovers from when our solar system formed about 4.5 billion years ago. You could say they're like the building blocks that didn't quite make it into a planet. Some of these rocks are just a few meters across, like the size of a car, while others are hundreds of kilometers wide, which is absolutely massive. And what's really interesting is that they're not like planets or even moons. Asteroids don't have atmospheres, they don't shine like stars, and they definitely don't have cute little craters filled with water like the ones you see on moons. Now, here's a quick question for you. Which of these planets do you think has an asteroid belt closest to it? Is it Earth, Jupiter, or Mars? Take a guess. There's a poll right up there. Let's see how many of you know your space trivia. Don't worry if you're not sure, we'll talk about it in just a bit. But trust me, asteroids are way cooler than they look. Let's take a look into further details. So where did these space rocks actually come from? Well, it all goes back to when the solar system was just a chaotic mess, kind of like a cosmic construction site, about 4.5 billion years ago. You had dust, gas, and chunks of rock all swirling around, crashing into each other, and slowly building up into planets. But not everything made the cut to become a planet. Some pieces got left out of the party. They never clumped together quite enough. And that's how we ended up with the asteroids, kind of like the leftover pieces after the planets were built. A lot of these chunks ended up between Mars and Jupiter, where the gravitational tug of war between these two planets kept them from turning into a planet themselves. It's like they're forever stuck in no man's land, forming what we call the asteroid belt. But here's something that isn't talked about much. Some scientists think there could have been a planet in that space, but it got ripped apart by Jupiter's gravity early on. Imagine that, an entire planet that got smashed to pieces. Pretty wild, huh? So, these asteroids are ancient leftovers from the time planets were forming, and they hold secrets about the solar system's early days. Let's go further and see what these space rocks are made of. Okay, so what are asteroids actually made of? Well, think of them as space's mix and match collection. Most of them are made of rock, some are mostly metal like iron and nickel, and a few have a bit of both. Let's break it down for you. The most common type is called C-type or carbonaceous asteroids. These bad boys make up about 75% of all asteroids. They're dark, full of carbon, and pretty much the most ancient kind. Then we've got the S-types, which are more stony and make up around 17%. And finally we've got M-types. These are the metal ones with a lot of iron and nickel. Here's a quick look. C-type asteroids are the majority, S-types are a smaller chunk, and M-types are like the shiny rare finds of the asteroid world. It's kind of like space's own version of rock collecting, but on a massive scale. So, depending on what they're made of, asteroids can be pitch black like coal or shine like polished metal. Next, let's get into just how big some of these rocks can get. So, just how big are asteroids? Well, they come in all shapes and sizes, some are tiny and others are absolutely colossal. Some of the smaller asteroids are only about the size of a car. Imagine a rock the size of your average SUV just chilling out in space. Doesn't sound too intimidating, right? But then you've got the big guys, like Ceres asteroid. Ceres is massive, almost 600 miles across. To put that in perspective, it's roughly the size of Texas. Yeah, that's a pretty big rock. If we lined up some well-known asteroids, you'd have everything from, hey, that could fit in my backyard, to wow, that could swallow a city. Imagine having a Texas-sized rock out there. It's kind of mind-blowing, right? So, whether it's tiny or gigantic, each asteroid has its own story. Now, let's talk about the different types of these space travelers and why they're so unique. Let's talk about the types of asteroids. There are three main categories: C-type, S-type, and M-type. First up, we have C-type asteroids, also called carbonaceous asteroids. These are the most common. About 75% of all asteroids are C-types. They're dark, dusty, and full of carbon, which makes them look like giant charcoal briquettes. These are some of the oldest materials in the solar system, so they hold a lot of clues about how everything started. Then there are the S-types, or silicate asteroids. These are a little brighter and are mostly made up of silicate rock and nickel iron. They make up about 17% of the asteroids, and they're usually found closer to Earth compared to the C-types. You could think of these as the shinier, stony members of the family. And finally, the rarest of them all are the M-types. These metallic asteroids are made mostly of iron and nickel. They're the bling of the asteroid world, and some of them are thought to be leftover cores of protoplanets that broke apart. Imagine a solid chunk of metal just drifting through space, kind of like nature's very own spaceship material. But here's where it gets interesting and a little controversial. Some scientists argue that the line between asteroids and comets isn't as clear-cut as we think. There are asteroids out there that have characteristics similar to comets, like they even have tails when they get close to the sun. Are they asteroids, or are they wannabe comets? It's still debatable. Let's keep going and talk about some of the asteroids that might be coming close to us soon. Now, let's talk about the asteroids that are coming close to us soon. And when I say close, I mean close enough to make scientists keep an eye out. One of the notable ones we have coming up is Asteroid 2023 JK, a rock about the size of a football field, and it's passing pretty near us. But here's the thing, when we say near, in space terms, that's still millions of kilometers away. Still, it makes you think, right? And then there's Apophis. Oh yeah, the infamous one that's been called the god of chaos. It's going to come by in 2029, and scientists will have their eyes glued to the sky. But here's a question. Could one of these asteroids actually collide with Earth? Well, the short answer is probably not. But we don't take any chances. We have a detailed video on Apophis. Do check it out by tapping on link in the description. NASA, ESA, and a bunch of other space agencies have special programs dedicated to tracking these rocks 24/7. They use advanced telescopes and radars to make sure nothing takes us by surprise. Now, here's a question for you. Do you think we should be investing more in asteroid defense systems? Like, should we have a planetary shield? Or maybe some rockets ready to deflect these space rocks if one ever sets its sights on Earth? We have added a link to a poll in description. Let us know what you think. Because honestly, defending the entire planet from a giant rock in space is the kind of sci-fi reality we might need to be ready for. Let's move on and talk about some myths around asteroids that just aren't true. Okay, let's bust a popular myth here. Many people think that all asteroids are dangerous to Earth. Like Hollywood movies have definitely made it seem like every asteroid out there is just waiting to smash into us. But here's the truth. Most of these space rocks are completely harmless. In fact, scientists estimate that there are millions of asteroids, but only a tiny fraction, less than 0.1%, pose any potential risk to Earth. And even those are being closely tracked and monitored. So, while the idea of a giant asteroid wiping us out is terrifying, it's not exactly a common threat. Now, here's something you might not know: asteroid mining. Yeah, you heard that right. Some of these asteroids are packed with valuable metals, like gold, platinum, and rare minerals. Experts say that mining an asteroid could be worth trillions of dollars. Imagine a future where we get our resources from space instead of digging up our own planet. It's wild to think that asteroids might not only hold secrets of the past, but could also be the key to our future economy. Let us know in the comments, do you think asteroid mining is the next big thing? Asteroids aren't just random rocks floating through space. They're like time capsules from the birth of our solar system, potential resources for the future, and yes, sometimes they're a bit of a threat. Which asteroid fact surprised you the most today? Was it the idea of mining them, or maybe the fact that most aren't actually dangerous? Drop your thoughts in the comments, we'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe for more science videos and discoveries. Thanks for watching.